I never had a conversation about what happened. I didn't understand why he was so upset. I don't understand if it was something that my mom did. Seeing him react, it validated this is how you respond when you are angry to your wife. I've put my fist into walls, put my fist into pillows. I've done a lot of things because I was angry. Let's just start there. I needed to talk to somebody about my mess. I've gone to individual counseling before I got married. It was one of the conditions before I got married. And boy, that was an eye-opener because dads should be going to counseling or should at least be considering. We have to be nurturing. We have to be kind. We have to be compassionate. We have to be caring. And counseling is one of the places that you don't have to manage someone else's emotions. We internalize pressures of finance. We internalize pressures of parenting. You need a chance to be yourself. What's going on, world? Thank you for joining us today. This is Dad Sharpens Dad podcast. I'm your host, Trey Brown, and today we're going to walk through 8 reasons why I believe dads should go to counseling. Counseling has always had this negative connotation. It's always been about something going wrong. It's always been about you doing something wrong. And it's been about correction. I will tell you from personal experience, counseling is life-changing, but not always in a reactive way, not always in response to trauma or something that has gone off the rails. Let's just start there. Personally, I've gone to individual counseling before I got married. It was one of the conditions before I got married that I needed to talk to somebody about my mess. And boy, that was an eye-opener because I learned that I can be myself. I can walk through my life. I could walk through timelines where I experienced trauma. That way I don't introduce it to my soon-to-be family. I've been through premarital counseling. I've been through marriage counseling. I've been through family counseling. I'm currently in individual counseling. It's my belief that there's nothing wrong with trying to manage stress. Let's get into this list. 8 reasons why dads should be going to counseling or should at least be considering counseling. Number 1, it gives you a place to process without performing. That is so key because environments around our family, we have to be nurturing, we have to be kind, we have to be compassionate, we have to be caring. At work, we have to be competent, we have to perform. And in front of our friends, we deflect, we have a good time, we joke. I believe that there is value in being in an environment where you can process and be yourself. What I'll tell you about a counselor is that their job is to listen to you, but not just listen to you. They have the science, they have the expertise, they have the understanding around psychology, how events in your past may trigger things. They're advanced at knowing people. And when they get to listen to you, they get to process and walk through things that you have experienced, play it back to you and educate you on some of their expertise and understanding and experience to give you revelation about what you're going through. They know people. They understand behaviors. When I mention family, work, those relationships you have to protect. And counseling is one of the places that you don't have to manage someone else's emotions. The reason that is important, you need a chance to be yourself. Counseling is for you to become a better version of yourself for work, for family, for the friendships that are important to you. It's the one place that you don't have to be strong, but you get to be yourself, you get to be honest. Number 2, it helps you separate stress from your identity. A lot of dads internalize pressures. We internalize pressures of finance. We internalize pressures of parenting. Let me give you an example. You have the people at the gym. You have the personal trainers that are available. You can book them. You can pay some extra money. They'll help you become a better version of yourself. Then you have your gym buddy. You got the guy that you're going to the gym with. Out of the 2, one of them has gone to school. One of them is certified. One of them has experience. One of them is there to do a job. The other one is there to benefit, to grow, to become better from the gym. Now, going to the gym, you're already in the right environment to grow and become better, but there is one expert there. There was one person that has studied there. There was one that has done the things in order to declare themselves and be certified and be hired as a personal trainer. It's not your gym buddy. So as much as we want to be able to process things with our friends, they're not professionals in that space. They may not be professionals on stress management. And the stuff that we deal with dads, we got to remember that is not our identity. That is just the situation that we're walking through. That is just the moment. That is just the experience of being a dad. That pressure, that guilt of being a parent, that's something that a professional can help you walk through. And understanding that and accepting that alone should help with shame and burnout. Number 3, it helps you become a better communicator. You're going to benefit not just personally, but with the relationships. I've been in sales for over 2 decades. I feel like I know how to communicate, but there is some language that I picked up in counseling that helped me become even better. I think a better communicator in the relationships that I have personally, not just at work, not just with business, but to be able to explain my emotions, my thoughts to my spouse, explain and teach to my kids. It has been a game changer in so many ways of just communication. It's also going to help you understand people. You become a better communicator, not just to be a therapist, but in real life, it helps you become a better listener. It helps you have empathy. It helps you understand people in their situation. It helps you identify those things. Maybe not just internally what triggers are, but for other people, other important relationships. It helps you name emotions. It helps you listen without trying to fix everything. I don't necessarily say things perfectly now, but I don't blow up a situation by what I do say. Communication is key if you want to make relationships better overall. Number 4, it helps you break down patterns that you didn't choose to create. Many things we've seen, many things we've heard, many patterns that our parents taught us. The stuff that we learn from our upbringing, the stuff that we learn from previous relationships, these kind of have shaped us and helped us develop patterns, sometimes not always good, not always healthy patterns. I know for sure there are patterns that I developed from my dad. An example of what I experience is when my kids say the word what. It's a trigger. I don't know if it's common in just Black households, but saying what was not an option as a kid. Not saying the word what in response to your parent trying to get your attention. It better be sir, it better be yes ma'am, it better be excuse me. So when my kids say the word what, I've learned that it's a trigger from my upbringing and my childhood. It's nothing that they're even aware of. It helped me reframe how I hear my kids saying the word what. And I've actually walked through a process of explaining, hey, let me help you understand this. When you say what, it sounds like you're being disrespectful. I know you're not being disrespectful. I know that you just didn't hear me. What I would like you to do is instead of saying what, I want you to say, sir. I want you to say, excuse me. I want you to say yes. It sounds like you're curious about why I need your attention and not just responding to be disrespectful about it. Once I explained to my child, they were able to understand, but I also didn't have to hold it against them personally. So these are just patterns that we have identified that we like to change or correct or modify over time. Counseling helps you notice your triggers. Counseling helps you notice why you shut down or why you snap. Counseling helps you understand why you feel conflict is unsafe. Conflict can be safe. It can also be very healthy, but it can help you identify why you have boundaries, why you have certain resistance towards certain situations. It may be very well built into responses that you learned over time that you didn't necessarily choose to have, that you don't necessarily choose to utilize. You can't change a pattern that you don't recognize. Man, we're breezing through this list right here. Number 5, this is probably the most important piece to me, is it helps you protect your marriage before it needs to be saved. Let's get all the negative language, let's get all the negative ideas out of our head. Counseling helps you protect your marriage. The fact that you are being proactive to address things, whether it is personal, whether it is within a relationship, to someone that is an expert in that field, hats off to you. A lot of dads, a lot of men, we internalize things that we should process externally. The pressure, the stress, the guilt of not being there, the shame of being there but not being present. There are a lot of ways that we fall short and we carry that burden. Not only carrying the burden affecting us personally, it affects the important relationships in our lives. Counseling isn't we're falling apart. Counseling is we care enough that we want to stay aligned. We want to stay on the same sheet of music. We want to continue to do this thing together. We want to continue to grow closer together. We want to be able to understand each other even more. Whether it's how you handle anger, whether it's how you handle pain, whether it's how you celebrate, whether it's how you celebrate the kids. You want to be on the same sheet of music. Number 6, it helps you model emotional health to your kids. This is important because not just the audience at work, not just the friendships that you have, not necessarily just your spouse, but you being able to process and teach your kids in real time how to handle anger, how to handle sadness. It's important to model handling anger with your kids. It's important to model handling sadness with your kids. Now, dads, I want you to take inventory. I want you to think specifically about the experience with your dad growing up. I want you to think about a particular moment where you know he was upset. Now, think about what upset him. Just if you can recall why he was upset. And I want you to think about what he did because he was upset. You witnessing this as a child, think about how did this affect you back then? Some of the most traumatic experiences that I had as a child was witnessing my parents that weren't able to handle their emotions at the time. It's not to say that parents are ever perfect. Parents don't always get things right, myself included. But I remember a particular moment where my dad was upset with my mom, and I remember his actions. At the moment, I really didn't know how to feel personally. I just witnessed something that was traumatic because I remember it's one of the scenarios where if I think about what is an example of anger that your parents showed, I remember that moment. And not just that, I never had a conversation about what happened. I didn't understand why he was so upset. I don't understand if it was something that my mom did. I just remember seeing him react. In some way or another, it validated this is how you respond when you are angry to your wife. Now here I am, and I recognize that is not a proper way of how to process your anger. I'm telling you, for years, I did not know that. I've put my fists into walls. I've put my fist into pillows. I've punched. I've screamed. I've done a lot of things because I was angry. A lot of these behaviors, I just believe that I internalized what I experienced, and I believe that that was the right way to respond. Something that I did learn and what was modeled was that showing emotions and having feelings was a sign of weakness. It definitely isn't. Have emotions is just a human response to the environment, to your experience, to things that are happening. When we process and deal with our emotions in real time in front of our kids, they're going to have an idea of what to do when they have those same feelings, when they experience those same triggers. I want my kids to be able to understand how to respond when you're angry. I want my kids to know that they can talk about being angry. I want my kids to know that they can talk about feeling sad, feeling excited. The emotions that you show your kids and walk through and explain are the same emotions that they will be able to walk through and explain to the people that are important to them. I would love my kids to be able to tell me, Dad, I'm frustrated, here's why. And the more your kids are allowed to talk, the more likely they're gonna go to you for help. Imagine the day that you have young adult kids that don't feel like they can talk to you and you're their parent. Kids don't talk about things to people that they feel unsafe around. So 100%, you wanna be able to offer that space to your kids to be able to process things. You got to be able to start creating a language for them to express themselves. You got to leave the space where you can be a good listener. And if they don't have the language, they may not have the tools, they may not have the know-how on how to express themselves to you. So they'll definitely go talk to a friend about it versus talking to you about it. This is why we need to begin modeling good emotional health, not the bad. And when we experience the bad, we need the language to explain and teach our kids. And number 7, it gives you an experience outside of your echo chamber. As nice as it is to have validation, it's also good to have a different perspective, especially when you're wrong. I'll give you an example that you may have seen in your community, maybe in your family, maybe at work, is Dallas Cowboys fans. I think ever since I started watching, I've heard Dallas Cowboys fans say, "This is our year." Now, I'm old enough to experience when the Cowboys have won Super Bowls, but I will tell you, it has been many years, I believe decades, it's been decades since they've won a Super Bowl. Being in an echo chamber where you're only hearing feedback from people that represent the same ideas, the same beliefs, isn't necessarily healthy. We all have those friends. They take your side of things. They share the same bias. They don't even help challenge you on a deeper level in a lot of topics, in a lot of ways. A counselor isn't going to be impressed by you. A counselor isn't going to be threatened by you. A counselor isn't being invested in being liked by you. Just being neutral is powerful because they're going to be able to give you information and context and ideas that are going to help resolve your issues without having that bias. That bias may be holding you back from elevating, from getting better in that area. A way that I know when I had a good session with my counselor is if I've been given information that I haven't thought of or considered before, but it is clutch. It is at the right moment. A counselor is going to give you tools that you need to fix the things that are damaged in your life, not their life. So 100% take those tools. It's better to have the tool that you don't need versus need the tool that you don't have. I don't necessarily go to counseling because things are wrong. I go because I don't want them to go wrong and I'm completely unaware. Which brings me to number 8, it's maintenance. You take your vehicle to the shop. You go to the dentist. You go to the doctor to get a physical. You do all the things that are important to maintain them. Your vehicle, your body. You got to do the same thing for your mind. I know people are probably watching this saying, well, yeah, I talk to my friends about all my issues. Well, guess what? Your friends are not experts. They're probably very biased because they want to feel loved. They want you to feel loved. And they're not necessarily going to challenge you in the areas that you need to be challenged. Taking care of your mind is not a suggestion. It's necessary. And I want to debunk some of the reasons we have in resisting going to counseling. Those things are, I don't have the time. Oh, I don't have the time. We have the time to watch basketball. We have the time to watch football. We have the time to go to the bar and talk to our buddies. We have the time. I have the time. If you don't make the time to be proactive in taking care of your mind, it's going to leave other things vulnerable. It's going to leave your body vulnerable. It's going to leave your relationships vulnerable. It's going to leave the relationships with your kids vulnerable. Look, if it helps you understand, there's a part where you book an appointment with a counselor. They get to know a little bit about you ahead of time. They give you these intake forms where you answer all these questions. Is this in your family history? High blood pressure? Is there injury? Is there crime? Are there these health conditions? They take into account all these items before you meet. And even when you meet them, that doesn't mean that you have to stick with the same counselor. I've had a session with a counselor. It didn't feel like a good fit, even though they knew all about me. And then I decided to hire somebody else. Just because you book with a counselor doesn't mean they're necessarily the right fit. Something I appreciate about my counselor is that I could share things with them and I don't have to walk around them later. Like there's not that judgment. Like if you share something with a family member or a friend, there isn't the idea that they're going to hold something against you. They're only on the side of trying to help you become better. So they're not going to hold things against you. They're not going to make you feel shameful. If there's a moment that you have shame, they're going to help you process that. At the end of the day, counseling, it didn't change who I was. It helped me understand and be more aware of who I am and how I could show up better for my wife, for my kids, for my friendships, at work, in my business. I would love to hear from those people that have gone through counseling, what their experience was like. What did you go to counseling for? Did you go because there was a problem? Did you go because you wanted to prevent a problem? Dads, it's important to get this conversation outside of your head. In some conversations, it's appropriate to have in the right environment. at the gym, seeing your gym bros, sometimes being out and about with your buddies. Sometimes those aren't the best environments to really walk through certain experiences. Sometimes those aren't the environments where you're going to get something back. Sometimes those aren't the right environments where you're going to learn and where you're going to grow. Counseling is a space where you have the opportunity to be transparent. You have the opportunity to be honest without the judgment, without the guilt. And you have the chance to learn, to get context, to walk through your past, to walk through trauma, to understand triggers. Everybody in my family has been through some kind of counseling. Not my 2-year-old daughter yet, but trust me, when it's appropriate, she will be able to communicate with a counselor. This is a bonus. Counseling is good for your kids, not just you. Counseling helps your kids understand that there can be relationships that are safe that are just not their parents. That's the bonus one, I'm telling you. It's a game changer. One of my boys currently does counseling, and it has been something that he's enjoyed to be able to connect with, to be able to learn the language, to be able to communicate his feelings, understanding how he could be a better version of himself. It's a really good thing for kids to be able to experience.
Hi, my name is Kobe. I like to listen to music, play basketball, and stay home. My counselor is really nice. We sometimes like draw and make comics, but we also talk about our feelings. And he wants to know like about school and how I'm doing. Actually, like we literally make comic characters and use them to. We have this dice that he has, and we roll it. And each time we roll, that has to be a part of the story. So, and that's how we make the comics. And he does help me with my feelings a lot. And that's all about my counselor, Mr. Bryce. If you haven't already, make sure you can subscribe to Dad Sharpens Dad on YouTube.